So, of all of the errors and sins that were committed in the making of The Last Jedi, for me, one of the worst has got to be what was done to Luke Skywalker. Not only has Rian Johnson physically killed Luke Skywalker, he has gutted Luke Skywalker of all of the greatness and heroism and goodness that was Luke Skywalker. Taken Luke Skywalker from the adventurous farm boy who bravely turns away from the charred corpses of his aunt and uncle, and instead of, sitting in a puddle of tears, no, what he says is he stoically looks into the face of Obi-Wan Kenobi and says, I want to learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi, right? He wants to commit himself to make a difference for good. And, who the same apprentice who single handedly takes on the combined powers of Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine in a showdown and successfully wins the chosen one who has fallen to the dark side back to the light and defeats evil and rescues the galaxy. Taken that Luke Skywalker and turned him into a bitter atheist who guzzles green milk from the breasts of some weird aquatic creature, and angrily wipes his chin while glaring at Rey, and glares at her again while he's fishing angrily, and has shut himself off completely from the Force itself and from all of his family and friends that he loves, and whose death is about rescuing himself. In fact, I want to point this out. Luke in this film has completely shut himself off from the Force, and the one time at which we see him, flip that switch back on, is self-preservation. Because Rey she gets so frustrated and fed up with him that she actually launches into an attack on him because of what's going on, and he falls to the ground and manages to levitate himself and not have some physical problem because his head hit the rocks. What is going on with Luke Skywalker? This was horrible. I went home and I put on A New Hope, just to sort of like a palate cleanser from what I saw happen to Luke Skywalker. My 4-year-old son walks into the room, and all he really knows about Star Wars is A New Hope, because he's young. And he immediately runs out and grabs his toy lightsaber, runs back into the room, and says, I want to be Luke Skywalker. And you know what my first thought was? No, you don't. I mean, I didn't say that, but this is what's happened. This is the conclusion of the great Luke Skywalker. His death is not the glorious death of a hero and mentor. It is to create a diversion because he finally decides that maybe his family and friends and the universe is worth something after all, and maybe he should get involved again. And it is a rescuing of the gutted self that is the remains of whatever was Luke Skywalker. It's pathetic. It's utterly disappointing. I don't have enough words to express what was taken in this film from untold numbers of fans who, for decades, have imagined what Luke Skywalker has gone on to become. Not that there would never be problems or struggles or issues to deal with when he's looking at sort of course correcting some things that went on with the religion that he's trying to fix. Some things, you know. So there are definitely a lot of angles or things that could have been written to create problems to solve. But the problem didn't need to be Luke Skywalker, um, and unfortunately, that's where he was left. There was a great opportunity missed here with him, I feel, and I do have some thoughts about what could have been done that I wished had been done. I'm not even going to go there in this video, but in addition to Luke, what was done with Leia, um, no doubt. I mean, you could surmise that between the time of Return of the Jedi and this film, she's tapped more deeply into the Force. But to take her frozen body from the vacuum of space and to force float herself back to the ship and through the airlock, which doesn't suck anyone else out. I'm not sure what is going on with that. That was just another low point in this film. You have taken the mighty Chewbacca and turned him into a vegan who keeps nests of space chickens in the Millennium Falcon. You've taken, Finn and Rey, who are on this pointless goose chase, and you have, at the conclusion of which, Rose says, "Oh well, it was worth it." Because she sets the space horse free. The space horses are set free. They were, they were used as entertainment, as race horses, and they were being whipped. And she, manages to set them free. No, the kids who are actually the children who are enslaved and are to be caring for the horses, they're all still enslaved. But the horses got set free, so it was worth it. I mean, was this written by PETA or Disney? And it was a little bit hard to tell the difference in this film about what is the definition of what's important in the galaxy here. So that's what I got for right now. I do have some other things that I want to address with this film. In regards to Rey and who she really is, because the question was asked several times point blank. Someone asked me a specific question in another video of what I thought when Luke took the lightsaber and pitched it over his shoulder. My reaction in the theater was, wow. I think my assessment of that is I hate it. I think it could have been understandable had some things been written differently about Luke, and he wasn't taken into the place that he was taken in this film. But that, in addition to everything else that was done with his character, I gotta say, I didn't appreciate it. I did not appreciate what Rian Johnson did in this film. And I sincerely hope that there's a way to salvage the Star Wars stories from what was done. But it is what it is, and it's all happened, and now we've got to sort of figure out how this thing moves forward.